But I want to thank you guys so much for parents for helping us through this season with everything from water to peanut butter and jelly to all the the snacks and fruit and everything else. If it wasn't for you, obviously our guys wouldn't have anything for the table at tournaments or for matches. So I do appreciate you guys so much, and I think the wrestlers should give you a round of applause with me for that. I also want to thank Angie Royal for doing so much with kind of orchestrating getting the food to the tournaments, and Judith Chapman as well for that, getting all that together, and being my team moms. Definitely couldn't do this season without you guys. We've evolved the food back and forth stuff. We have a cart now. We had to make them all carry it, all that kind of stuff. So that's a blessing in itself. Having you guys do that for us, and I definitely appreciate that. Also, with Angie videotaping your kids' matches with the help of Jay Mabry and a number of other parents who sat beside the mats while obviously we all couldn't go everywhere to watch your kids wrestle, and I understand that you have your obligations and things you have to do as well. So that's why I was so happy that we were videotaping matches where at least you could see your child wrestle and those kind of things on video. So definitely, I think we need to give a round of applause for that as well. Want to go ahead and start talking about the guys we have. Some of them aren't here, but I do want to start with the awards, the certificates of participation, and then the awards to follow that. We looked at remember to letter. On the varsity side, you had to be a high school 9th through 12th grader. You had to attend a certain number of practices, and you had to have there were criteria that you could meet. You had to meet a certain number out of that criteria. GPA was one. Number of varsity matches or matches wrestled, making it to upper state, making it to state, those kinds of things. Those were all criteria that had to be made or could be options to be made to letter. So just want to remind everybody of that was in the parent meeting as well. This team has a lot of firsts. This was a team that overall finished 23-9 as a team with some stiff competition. Probably, and me and Coach Mann try to think back, it's probably been, if not, this is the first, it's probably been over 20 years since we've had a 20-win team. And I'm thinking it's a first time because, 20 years ago, you didn't wrestle that many matches. So I think, that was the first to have a 20-win season in Woodmont Wrestling. Finished second in the region in the traditional team versus team, and second in the region tournament. We had 3 JV middle school state qualifiers, 1 middle school state champ. We sent guys to the JV middle school division, and having them wrestle well was huge for us. We had a region wrestler of the year and 2 state qualifiers. And those were just a couple off the top of my head that we had. We won the Elbert County tournament as a team. Finished second at our place, here. Finished second here, and just by a few points. Finished third at Wade Hampton and County, and also at the Ram Invitational, Wade Hampton, Ram, and County. Yeah, and I believe that's one of the first times in a long time that we've actually placed at County as a team. because normally teams in our county are very good. And to push ourselves to that level and wrestle that level at that tournament is a big deal. So as a team, we accomplished a lot. From the time that I've been here, 9 years ago, and this goes back to just you guys helping grow the sport. As hard as the coaches work to grow it, the wrestlers go out and they find friends, they find classmates that they get to wrestle with. 10 years ago, there was six kids that finished the season on the wrestling team. Now we have, I believe, 30 that finished the season. And much more than that actually were in the room that didn't finish the season for whatever reason. So I'm going to talk about every kid individually, and kind of give some accolades, give my thoughts of their wrestling season, and just let them have their time to have their moment to shine. So first we'll do the middle school set of guys. The certificate says certificate of participation, thanking you for your hard work and dedication to the Woodmont wrestling team. And this first young man is David Lawrence. I'm gonna have you stand up here. David was a young man who came and wrestled last year for us. Worked hard. He wanted to wrestle. And this year he really started putting it into practice and really started striving to become the wrestler he wanted to be. He wrestled pretty much at every event that he could to just get more mat time, continue to improve. He's coming up to the varsity level this coming year, and we see that he could be a guy who could make an impact for us if he keeps progressing as he is right now. David comes up to me all the time at the middle school and just talks about wrestling season. He wants to know what he can do and tell me about what he's doing in club and on off-season stuff and things like that. So hopefully he continues to do that, and hopefully we continue to see him on the mat and just continue to improve and get much better and just become a leader that we want to be. So thanks, David. Next is Jake Fernicola. Jake was a young man who came in, who I'm not sure if I found him or he found me, but I went in after the last football game and just invited any football player from the middle school team to wrestle. And the next day or a couple days after that, he comes up to me in PE class and just says, "Coach, I want to wrestle." Okay, and that's fine. I mean, that's one way that we try to build the program is having that relationship with the football team to get guys to come out. I didn't know what we were getting with Jake. He came in, he worked hard. I knew that part of what we were getting, but to see how hard he worked, how hard he worked, and he just started buying in to the wrestling program. Jake went from being brand new off the street to a middle school state qualified, which is not easy to do, especially in a weight class where a lot of kids who have wrestled and are that big are normally seasoned guys already. So that's impressive, and I think he's a very bright future. He's coming back for another year on the middle school team, and I think he's going to go there. He's going to go to that middle school tournament. He's going to win it this time. So I just want to thank you for your hard work and for your dedication to the wrestling team and what you've done in 1 year. Thank you. Next one is Thomas Schock. Thomas is a young man who I knew we had coming back. Great attitude, hard worker, you hardly would know if he's around because he doesn't talk very much. But he does all of his talking, on the mat when that whistle goes off. And he did a great job this year. I'm very, very excited to see what he's going to do in his high school career. He had a tough weight class. I talked with Coach Bass, who did a lot with the middle school program, going with the guys to the tournaments and coach them, things like that. And he would come back and just tell me how many really, really tough guys were in Thomas's weight class. And Thomas held his own with every one of those kids. And that makes me even more excited about what he's going to do in the future. And I just appreciate everything you've done and all the hard work you put in. But thank you. The next one is Garrett Starks. Garrett is something that every coach loves to have. He's a wrestler who comes in with a high ability level, high talent, and is an amazingly hard worker. He loves the sport. He'll practice 2-3 times a day if you let him. I'm very excited. Garrett is our middle school state champ. When he pretty much walked through the tournament like it was practice. He did a really, really good job. I'm not sure if you even, we would throw him in against high school kids in the JV level, and he would hold his own there. We'd bump him up and have him wrestle bigger kids. He'd hold his own there and beat kids. His mom would even try to throw me in, have him thrown in against heavyweights if she could. And Garrett wouldn't complain. He wouldn't get upset. That kid's 20 pounds bigger than me. All right, let's go. Let's wrestle. And that's the attitude I love about Garrett. The fact that he has such a bright future. When he gets up next year to the varsity level, is going to be. I think big things are going to be in store for Garrett. Coming right out. He's got coaches of other teams noticing him already and knowing that guy's coming up in our program. So I'm very, very excited. And I'm very thankful for the work that Garrett put in. Thank you. The next is Attila. I don't want to say his last name because I'll get it wrong. Yeah. Sure. Looks like I missed that. Good job, buddy. Attila was another one that I got an email, I believe, about Attila just saying, hey, my kid wants to wrestle. I was like, okay, I don't know who you are, but sure, absolutely. I don't want to ever turn down a wrestler. So, Attila came in, he did a great job. He learned, he grew as a wrestler, and he continued to just learn moves and just want to know more every day. Always had a smile on his face. Didn't matter what the score was or anything. You can tell he enjoyed doing the sport and wrestling and grinding. He enjoyed it. And I think as an 8th grader, he's going to continue to blossom next year and continue to just improve in the middle school level. And then I think his high school career is going to be really, really good too. And I just want to thank you for all your hard work and just being ready to come in and wrestle with Brandon. Thank you. Now we'll start with the varsity guys, or the JV varsity guys. A couple of guys who aren't here, and I'll call their name out, but I'm not going to talk that much about them because they're not here. But Zach Baldwin, he came in, and I think he's going to continue to progress from a freshman to a sophomore. Eric Blum, a jail man, wrestler who came in brand new from jail man. He did a great job, being that guy if we needed him to be a varsity wrestler. He would. If he was a JV wrestler, he'd be okay with that too. Whatever I needed him to do, he would do. And I think Eric's going to do great things at Jailman next year for that program. This young man is here, Dante Bowles. Dante, from the time that we were at football in the summertime, was always talking about, Coach, this coming wrestling year, this coming wrestling season, I'm gonna do so many different things. I'm gonna do all this stuff. And I just kept telling him, Dante, you got to keep working, just keep driving to get there. I love that he has all these high goals and aspirations for himself, and obviously every wrestler has that for themselves. But Dante pushed himself and got with a good group of guys to make him work to get where he wanted to be. He kept talking about state. I want to go to state. I want to do this, and he made it there. He worked hard. He got where he wanted to be, I'm very happy to announce that Dante is going to be wrestling in college at Allen University next year. So that just puts another stamp on his career as a high schooler, but it's a great thing that he's going to continue his education and his athletic career at Allen University. And I'm very excited about that. Excited to see him wrestle. He's within driving distance for us. So those college trips that we take to go watch Anderson and watch Newberry, now we can go watch Allen and watch Dante at Allen. So very excited for him. And very thankful that he put in all that hard work that he put in this season to get where he wanted to be. Thank you. Next is Lane Chapman. It really is nice. If you wore an undershirt, you'd be all right. Lane was one of our middle schoolers who moved up this year. Lane was a guy that we knew we had coming up, and a guy we needed in a varsity spot. He's been kind of bitten by the injury bug a little bit here and there, but even injured, he went up to Huff, North Carolina, to a very difficult team tournament, and he gave me everything he could. I looked at him and said, Lane, if you can go, tell me you can go. If you can't go, that's fine. We'll forfeit. And he's like, no, Coach, I'll go. So he would gut it out. He would do everything he could to help the team, and I really do appreciate that from Lane. If he couldn't wrestle, he was there supporting. If he wrestled, he was going all out. In practice, he was not only teaching, but he was also, showing guys, pointing out things that they could do better, those kind of things. Trying to be a great teammate as well. And I think, that's a great thing from Lane. I do anticipate big things for him his sophomore year. And I think he's going to do a great job stepping in a full-time role. So I just want to thank you for that. And I anticipate seeing you back next year. Thank you. Another young man who was kind of bitten by the injury bug as well was Peyton Craig. He had an injury that he actually sustained last wrestling season, and we kind of thought we were over it. And I guess through training and kind of trying to get his body ready for this season, aggravated it again. And so I hope that Peyton can get his body healthy and come back, because he was a guy that we thought would be a good guy to fill the weight class this year, and I think he'll do the same next year. Another young man, Kevin Dale. Kevin was one that kind of came in late. Very athletic, very strong, and is very interested in wrestling. And so I just want to see more of Kevin and what he can do. But he definitely has the ability and the tools to be something special if he just continues to progress. The next young man is Shamar again. Shamar was a young man who worked for the football team and did great things there and lifted and worked all summer. But he'd also come up. He'd also come up and would not only go through the whole football workout, how grueling that was, but he'd come straight up onto the mat and start wrestling right after that in the summertime. And he put in a lot of real good work there. And then during the season, we pushed Shamar to become the best wrestler he could possibly be. And he did that. He met that challenge. He wrestled some really tough guys and really tough matches. He beat a state champ in the county tournament to win the county tournament. The young man from Berea became a 3A state champ. So Shamar's right there. With 1 year left in Shamar's career, I think Shamar's going to do great things, and I think he's going to get to that state level as well, and he's going to win him one, I believe. So I just want to thank you for your hard work and your dedication. We're going to put you on the mat. Okay, next one. The next young man is DeAndre Durrett. I don't know if everybody got a chance to watch DeAndre wrestle. I know there's plenty of videos that you can look at. But he was one of the most entertaining guys to watch wrestle for multiple reasons. He was very explosive, very strong, athletic, and I think he would get bored on the mat, so he'd just make it fun for himself at times. But as enjoyable as he made wrestling himself, I enjoyed coaching. I didn't have him, obviously, but just for this 1 year, because he came over from jail, man. But he really helped us, push our guys that we had. But he also pushed himself and wanted to accomplish goals for himself. Now, obviously you can tell his season didn't end on his terms, I guess, by dislocating his elbow. But he pushed it to the limit. Every match I enjoyed, coaching him, even when I got upset with him, or he got upset with himself and took it out on paper towel dispensers. But he was an enjoyable young man to coach, and the thing is, when he did get upset, it's because he had the passion. The passion was there, and he wanted to push himself, and he expected so much out of himself. So I appreciate that. I really do, and I appreciate you coming over. And I know it's not easy for these jail man guys to spend their time going out and back from man. It's something they could have just said, "I'm done. I won't wrestle my senior." But he decided that, and he was one of the first ones to show up. So I do appreciate it. Thank you. The next one is David Griffin. David is another one of those jail man guys who came over and sacrificed their time. A lot like I said about Thomas, you wouldn't know he was here, except for he's standing in front of you, because he doesn't ever talk. I still don't think he talked. Somebody said he did, but I don't believe it. But David did a wonderful job, pushing, his practice partners and working to make them better. And he got as much work out of his practice partners as he could. He made them work. He made them go hard. He wanted to have that tough practice every time he walked in the room. And he was a blessing for his practice partners because he had that attitude. He wanted to go. He didn't want to take a day off. And we didn't necessarily get David to where his goals were and what our goals were for him, but I can be proud to say that he's had 2 offers to go wrestle in college, one at Anderson University and one at Allen University with Dante. So I told him just go ahead and sign the paper and be Dante's roommate and let's get it over with. But I did enjoy coaching David. I enjoyed him teaching me, because my style and his style weren't exactly the same. So I had to kind of adjust my style to his style. And he taught me things and I know I taught him things. But he was an enjoyable young man to coach. And I wish him the best of luck, whichever road he chooses. And I'm very grateful to coach. Thank you. The next young man is Darius Lindsay. Darius was a guy that we picked up from football. He came in. He worked over the summer to learn the sport because he was brand new. Darius works very hard. I can't ever question Darius's work ethic. It's tough when you're 200 plus pounds wrestling guys who normally, if you're 200 plus pounds, you've been in it for a while. And the learning curve is a lot sharper for those guys than it is for maybe a smaller guy who comes in who may be able to wrestle some guys who don't know what they're doing either. So Darius did a heck of a job working with knowing that he's got to catch up. And Darius is going to do a lot of great things for us. He's still young, and he's still going to grow, and he's still going to do things for us that I anticipate are going to be very, very good. And he's a heck of I cannot talk enough about his work ethic. I mean, he comes in, he goes at it. So I just appreciate you coming in and having that attitude every day. Thank you. Next one is Derek Little. Derek was one that, as I said, we had wrestlers go out and find other guys who wanted to wrestle. And Derek was one of those guys. I think Dante was the first one to come up to me and tell me, Coach, I got another small guy for us for our team to help fill a spot and that kind of thing. And I was like, who? And they said Derek. I actually taught Derek in middle school, and I was like, okay, sure, great. And when he came in, I saw his work ethic and how hard he tried and how much he wanted to learn, and how well he worked with the other guys. I definitely felt blessed that he was going to be on our team. And he came in. It's tough to be a new guy and jump straight into the varsity lineup. You got to learn a lot of stuff. You got to figure out this sport and how tough it's going to be, how many challenges there's going to be. But he did a heck of a job, and I think that with him being still young and him learning with the guys that we have for next year, he's going to do some special things as well. Because to see what he started out doing and to see where he got to. He had guys that were whooping him early in the season, and his last match was a match that really he should have won, not by any fault of his own, but I have an issue with referees. If you can't spell, Derek put up a fight against a kid who really wore him out the first part of the season, and he got much better. You could tell how he progressed and caught up and closed that gap so well. So I just thank you for your hard work, because that's what it took to get there. Thank you. The next young man is Keith McCall. And as I said with Darius, it's tough being new and being a guy who weighs 200 plus, because again, they know what they're doing, and we had to teach Keith what to do a lot of times, and it's hard to remember all that stuff that Coach said while having this big guy hammering you. So Keith showed a lot of grit. He showed how tough he was. And I'm just excited that hopefully he's coming back, and the fact that he's just going to continue to be,